What's a super genius way to hide something in your house? Treat it as being super extra important, so you hide it in a super extra important place in the house. Then tell yourself you'll always remember where it is because it's in that super extra important place. In my experience, you'll never find it again. I can't tell you how much shit I've lost due to this exact logic. I convinced myself I was going insane because I remember putting away some flat stack boxes, the free small flat rate boxes that USPS will ship to you, in a location that was supposed to be perfect since it's exactly where I would go if I needed to ship something. Never found them when I needed to ship something. I really thought I was going crazy. I ordered another set from USPS. I've never found the first set in the 9 months since then. Maybe I never will. Maybe I will when I move out. My great-grandparents apparently hid a fortune's worth of ivory somewhere in their house, forgot where it was, offered to let any of their grandkids keep it if they could find it, and then died years later having never found the ivory. Some random people live in that house now and potentially have quite the surprise waiting for them. Highly likely that grandma and grandpa were trying to keep the kiddos busy and out of their hair. Hey kids, there's ivory hidden somewhere in the house. Now run off and go find it. False bottom to your cat's litter box. Nobody's gonna dig through cat shit to look for your stuff. Former probation officer here. I had someone on supervision that had a complaint called in, so had to go check it out. Never could find anything. Then I noticed a litter box. He didn't list any pets on his paperwork. I asked where the cat was. He said the cat is always hiding. I gave him that. My girlfriend had a cat that would disappear whenever someone came over, but I was with a different officer that day, and he said he is highly allergic to cats and felt nothing. 3 pounds of weed was vacuum sealed and under the cat litter. There was no cat. Inside of trophies. Mine are all hollow. That would require being good at something. I just hid something inside a jar, put a toilet paper tube in the middle, then fill the sides with dog food biscuits. In the summer, winter jacket pockets. My favorite day is when it's cold enough to put on your winter jacket for the first time and you find some bounty, usually change, a Rickler, or a ticket stub. Fake electrical outlet. Looks like a regular outlet but has no wiring. You can keep a small wad of cash or anything in similar size. My ex hid wads of $100s in the mouth of a VCR. As a kid, I saw that whomever had put the floor trim in my room didn't do a great job measuring. There was a section in one corner of the room, under my bed, that was about 18 inches long and held in with a single nail. I found that I could simply pull it out, and the whole thing would swing out like a door. So I took a knife and cut out the drywall. Just enough that if the trim was replaced, you'd never see the hole. I kept everything in there from porn to cash to weed. As a paranoid child with fairly conservative parents, I thought of all sorts of creative places to hide things. I should be a law enforcement consultant. I can find any hiding place. I used to think I could hide my weed from my mom in the towel in the bass drum of my drum set. One day I reached in and found a note instead. It said, "Not as smart as you think you are. So not that way. If she's not a drummer, she won't understand the towel and would assume it was nonsense you made up to hide stuff. If she was a drummer, she'd definitely had that thought before about it being a good hiding place because it seems so innocuous." I would have thought that was a genius way to hide stuff, but the older I get the more I understand how my own mom's brain works. Inside electronics. A lot of electronics has spare room inside. False wall and closet, either the back of the closet, top of the closet, or a wall that doesn't have a door next to it, harder to see the missing space. Drawers, false bottom, underneath a drawer, or tape behind a drawer, on top of cabinets, especially with a false top to cover whatever you're hiding. Behind the backing of a picture, best with those cheap photo frames that are easy to disassemble. False middle to a bottle of soda. Toilet tank. Taped up under sink near the front board. Make your own false book, works best with large bookcase. Inside a large chair or couch that's not properly sealed up underneath. Behind washing machine. Under dishwasher, none of these will stop a dedicated person from finding them. A few of the appliance-based ones can be discovered if someone else does a repair on them. A few require some effort to make false cavities. But between the variety it will be hard to figure out where. Drawers, false bottom, underneath a drawer, or tape behind a drawer. My brother went full tilt on this. He made a false cover for underneath a drawer. All contraband went in the gap that was created and he wanted hidden from parents. Was very impressed when he showed me. However, it was a bit too much effort. I just hid stuff in plain sight. As an example, I put the booze I was hiding at the back of our liquor shelf. Shelf is up high and you can see the back looking at it, as in it's at 6ft. Parents always took from the front and forgot what they had at the back constantly, so I just hid it up there where they would never look. My girlfriend's dad works with repairing home appliances. The other week he found 300 grams of hash hidden in a washer. Someone forgot to remove it before he called the repair guys, lol. When I was a teenager I got my hands on a Playboy magazine. This was just before we had internet at home, which changed the game of course. My mom knew I had it but I was just old enough where she decided to tolerate a few boobs. Still, in the conversation we had about it, she bet that if I was trying to hide a magazine from her, she would be able to find it. I accepted her challenge and told her to give me a little while to come up with hiding place. I had a chair with a cushion made of foam with a fabric cover, like a typical couch cushion. I removed the fabric cover and cut a slit into the foam, inserting the magazine in the middle of the cushion. I then turned the cushion around so that the slit was on the inside and couldn't be seen if you unzipped it. I put the foam back in the cushion and put it back on the chair. Couldn't feel anything sitting on it. My mom searched for a good while and could not find it. I think even if someone tore your house up completely they likely wouldn't take the foam out of the couch cushions and carefully inspect it from all sides. Thieves don't care about your shit. If they think you have something they want, they think you keep large amounts of cash, drugs etc in your house, they'll just slash your cushions, lounges etc looking for it. A common thief isn't going to go through as much effort as, say, a gang member who suspects you have cash, drugs and is hunting for it. Though in the end I suspect this thread is more for hiding things from notice rather than hiding things from someone who knows it's there. If you are hiding large amounts of cash from determined people, then you make a dummy location or honeypot, a place with enough cash to make them go away and stop looking. Same concept when going through a bad neighborhood. You carry a wallet with enough cash to make a mugger go away. Not a wallet. A money clip filled with $50 that you throw, then run the other way. In the pockets of hanging clothes in the closet. This is why interesting finds are discovered on the racks of thrift shops every now and then. Only on the ones the employees didn't check, and once they've had a good find and slipped it in their pocket, they will check them all. My house was robbed once. They cut the silk liner out of a really nice fedora from Havana, kicked holes in the back of all the closets and certain walls, disassembled electronics, pulled all the books off the bookshelf, moved around all the appliances, cut holes in couch cushions and mattresses, etc. However, they found no valuables because it's my second home, and I don't leave any cash or jewelry laying around. A lot of these ideas may be good for hiding things from people that live with you, but if you're looking to hide something from a would-be thief, get a safety deposit box. Edit for clarification. The criminals were apprehended. There were local landscapers who knew I wouldn't be around for long periods. They were found with a lot of amphetamines, which could explain their interesting tactics. No, I am not a drug dealer. I guess safe deposit boxes aren't as safe as I thought. I don't wear fedoras, I promise. Read this as what's a super genius way to hide in your house and was convinced Op was wanting to work on their hide and seek game. My mother and grandmother both have cold cash storage. It's a Tupperware in the freezers with cash in it. Frozen assets and cold hard cash. I heard a story once about somebody who went to help an old lady move her chest freezer. They grabbed it but it wouldn't lift up. Asked her if she'd emptied it and said yes, she'd taken all the food out. They opened it up to check, and it turned out she just didn't know what to do with the foot or so of silver bars that her late husband had been putting under the food for years. My dad lifted his living room carpet and it was lined with notes from like 30 years ago. He contacted the old lady who had the house the year before him and went to her house. She said she doesn't know anything about it. Her husband had died of dementia, so my dad insisted he must have hid it and gave her the whole lot. It was around Cyrillic letter get 10,000. If it's light and small. I split some of the seams on the side bottom of blackout drapes and stitched in a pocket and velcro. It's pretty much invisible, and I doubt people robbing the house want to disturb the drapes. I use it to stash cash for larger stuff. I have a wood fireplace, so we have decorative wood sitting next to it. I split a log, hollowed it out a bit with a drill, use it to hide a bunch of spare keys, safe keys, etc. I made these things while I was recovering from an injury and super bored. On the positive side, I think nobody will look in my places. On a negative side, if there's ever a fire, the neighbors will think I'm insane when I save a blackout drape and a log. Friend of mine, ex-criminal, had that problem when police raided his house. The gun he owned was not legal, so he threw it in a pot full of beans while they were on a stove, cooking. It saved his ass. 2 words, tampon box. Yes, that's also a great way to smuggle shots to a venue. The second they peek into a bag and see feminine hygiene products, it's an immediate keep going. I will warn against this. A particularly zealous bouncer at an event we recently attended found something hidden in my friend's tampon box in her purse. To be fair, it was a black tie event, so a full tampon box may have been a suspicious thing to have in one's purse as opposed to a couple loose in the bag. If you're trying to smuggle something into an event, then on your person is always best. They can't get too invasive with every guest. My boyfriend is tall. Anything I don't want him to see goes at the back of the lowest shelf. And whatever he doesn't want you to see is at the back of the highest shelf.